It's time for Baby and Toddler Instructions with host Blythe Lipman. Blythe is a nationally renowned infant and toddler expert who has over 30 years' experience helping moms and dads regain their sanity, teaching them how to survive, and giving them the confidence they need to be the best parents ever. From sleeping to crying to potty training to choosing a preschool and so much more. If you're a parent, Baby and Toddler Instructions is the show you've been looking for. Now here's your host, Blythe Lipman.
Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever in the world you might be. Thanks so much for tuning in to Baby and Toddler Instructions today. We have a live show and a wonderful show, but I just want to remind you that August is National Drowning Prevention Month. So please, please, please make sure that you watch your little ones in the water always. And if someone else is going to be watching them, grandma, or you have a cousin, an older cousin or family, make sure you know who's watching your kids. Never assume somebody else's and never take your eyes off of them for a second. Phone calls, nothing's more important than your little ones. So anyway, it's first Wednesday in August, and our children have already started school here in Arizona. It's going to be 114 today. Oh, my gosh, I always feel so bad for them. Because it's hot, even though we're air conditioned, it's so hot for these little ones. But we get out of school earlier, so what can I say? Anyway, for those of you that are enjoying August, as you know, the first Wednesday of the month, my wonderful friend Connie Grunning from Peanut Butter and Wine will be with us this first segment to tell us what's hot and what's not in August. First, I want to tell you about just a few recalls, and they're on my website, mybestparentingadvice.com. Storecraft recalled their crib mattresses because of the flammability standard. Target recalled Circo night lights. You put those in your little one's rooms lots of times. Kyber outerwear recalled children's sweaters due to strangulation hazard. They have drawstrings. And Up a Baby, this was interesting, recalled their strollers and rumble seats. Anyway, if you go to mybestparentingadvice.com, all the contact information is listed, their websites, their phone numbers, and you can read more about that. So just wanted to share that. And quickly, before I welcome Connie, she has this wonderful site called Peanut Butter and Wine, WHINE.com. You have to go there. I go every morning, try to win everything. Anyway, she talks about her asylum, and she says, my name is Connie, Mom, Ma, Nani, Nana, Sweetheart, Parental Unit, and Hag. Oh, son, Connie, I don't like that one. My children better leave the rest out. And she's the princess of the asylum. She watches baby Alice, her granddaughter, full-time, and occasionally Emma and Ellie, and she just loves it. So anyway, she's teaching them all the bad habits she knows that are really harmless, or not. But without further ado, Connie, how are you? I'm so excited you're here today. What's hot and what's not in August?
Oh, I have lots of really good stuff for kids. I have a set of, first, hello, good morning.
Hello.
And I love watching baby Alex grow up. Your grandson is so sweet, such a happy, happy baby.
He is happy, and I am just loving it. And when my daughter says he's having a cranky day, I go, wait a minute, whose baby? I don't see him crying. He just misses Grandma.
Exactly, that's all it is.
So I'm watching Alice painting.
I get to watch Alice full time, and this week we got a set of neon black light paint. Now, first thing we did was we painted on canvas, and this paint dries to a matte finish. So if you want something to be either a shiny or something, you're going to have to spray it afterwards. But on the face, oh my gosh, Alice and I had so much fun. And she painted Mom and Daddy's face that night. It is so much fun. It came off with just a wet wash rag. We used soap and water because we painted before we got into the bath. So we did use soap and water there, but it comes off super easy. It came off of the clothes. I did pre-treat just to be on the safe side, but nothing stained anything. So very, very fun paint set. Add a black light to it, and oh my gosh, it just is so cool looking. You're going to want it.
That could surprise my daughter.
For a great, like a birthday party, or how fun is this? And I get to give a set away, so I'm so excited. This is from I Am Human. I'm Human.
This is
and
so cute.
It is. It's one of my favorite things now. It's easy. Because
do you
the
think,
kids can
Connie,
paint on, yes.
Do you think I could, like, surprise my daughter and paint baby Alex's face? Is it safe?
Yes. Alice did really still for hers, but washing it off, I mean, I think you could do it easily. It didn't hurt her at all. There's no marks on her. It didn't irritate her little skin, anything.
Maybe I'll do the feet. Or my dogs. Look at all the possibilities. Okay, go on. You're on. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't mean to interrupt.
Okay. But your feet, you could have baby Alex on canvas with his little feet.
That would be great.
Oh, super cute. Okay. The next set of things is an awesome set of beach toys. This comes in 2 separate bags. It's got a hard or a more firm plastic clear bag, and then it also has a mesh bag, so if you take it to the beach, all the sand and water stays there. It's perfect for little hands. It all folds together really nice. That's a great little set of beach toys. The other one I really like is the Make-A-Match concentration game from Mama May I. Oh, my gosh. These are handmade little wooden coins. Now, they say don't let anybody under 4 use them without supervision. Personally, I think they're too big to swallow, but better safe than sorry.
Yeah, right.
This bag, it comes in a little bag, says Make a Match. It fits in my front pocket of my jeans. So if we're running out somewhere and I know that I'm going to need to keep Alice occupied, throw them in my pants and off we go. We can play this at the restaurant before the food comes. I'm a big believer of don't be afraid to take your kids to the restaurant. Just give them something to do. Don't let them just be bored. If you have something like this, they aren't bored. They aren't making a scene, and your time is going to be a whole lot happier in that restaurant. So those 2 are my very favorite, or 3 are my very favorites. The other thing I have is a Verilux lamp, and I get to give one of these away. It's a desk lamp, and Verilux lamps are truly one of my very favorite products. It's a smart light. It's a smart light productivity lamp. And research shows that this broad spectrum, natural spectrum lighting increases visual acuity, clarity, and sharpness of the letters. Your kids are going to study better with less eye strain. And I get to give one of these away in either black or white. It has a flexible gooseneck lamp. The gooseneck, I guess I want to call it something else, but it isn't. It really illuminates a large area of my desk when I'm using it. It's a nice, bright, but doesn't hurt your eyes at all. It also comes with a sanitizing travel wand, which is so cool. Just motion it back and forth over anything, not humans and not pets, and not your food. But it will kill 99% of germs right there. All you're going to do is just wave this little wand. I wish I could wave it on all the grandkids because they're the ones that get me sick every year.
Not this year.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, let's think positive. Not this year. We're all going to stay nice and healthy.
That's right. So you get both of those with this giveaway, and those are my most exciting products for this year, for this week, this month. Also have my Starbucks Diamond Candle and PayPal, and I have a Looney Tunes original DVD giveaway on there too. So you have all the originals with Marvin Martian and Bugs Bunny. So all the old good cartoons that we used to have.
If people remember,
those are my big giveaways for this month.
If people remember, because I know I went in for the Amazon card and the candle, and I was looking, going, Connie, maybe you'll see my name. Maybe you'll pick my name. You know, when you go to try to win something and you put the paper in, sometimes we fold it different ways, which is silly because people just stick their hand in and grab something when you're going to win a contest. So I am going in every day.
It's very easy. It's just push a button. It'll tell you in there what you have to do, whether it's follow on Twitter or leave a comment somewhere. Your entries are super easy, and I let the machine pick the winners, so I can't play favorite.
Oh,
otherwise, you would win all of them.
Well, that would be okay with me. There's lots of great things. You know, I have to say, if you're just tuning in for the first time out, we're live today. The first time I ever had Connie on my show, we talked about toe juice, and I'll never forget that. And I still laugh. Do they still sell toe juice? It was
toe juice is so popular, and every year when they get something new, they offer me the chance to review it. This stuff is awesome. I promise you, if you have a sore or you have bug bites or acne, you use some of this toe juice, and I promise you, from dried cuticles to cuts and scrapes, toe juice will help you. It's an antibiotic, antiseptic. It is amazing stuff, and it's so much fun to have it sitting in your medicine chest. So if you have somebody who's snooping and they open it up and the big bottle of toe juice is sitting there, you know, then you'll know, because they can't stand it. They have to know what.
Oh, yeah, and they snoop. Don't you always want to put a sign in your medicine cabinet that says, gotcha?
No, my favorite is to have a medicine bottle that's just barely hanging on, so when they open, it crashes, and I can hear it.
It's so funny, because I know they did a poll once about how many men opposed to women go and look through medicine cabinets. And, of course, it was men didn't care. They went and did their thing. And it was women that looked around and looked at the makeup. But what do you do if you find something and you really want to try it, or ask your friend about it, but you can't let them know you've been looking? Anyway, we're going to break for a commercial in just a few seconds. And as always, I'm so excited to have you on the show and all your great, wonderful products. And I think you have a new picture.
I do.
And a new haircut, and I love it, and it looks great. And anyway, it's wonderful, and I put it on my video. You should put it on your site so everybody can see the new beautiful hairstyle.
Thank you.
It looks wonderful. So we will talk to you in September, which will be here sooner than later. My gosh, this summer's flown by.
It sure has. Well, thank you. Have a wonderful day, and keep enjoying Alex.
Oh, I will. And you enjoy your grandchildren. See you next month.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these. If you're ready for a big change in your work, your career, your happiness, your life, it's time for the $1 Million Mindset with Marla Tabaka. Monday afternoons at 2, 1 Central on TogiNet.com. Marla believes that with the right mindset, anything is possible. Join us as successful life coach Marla Tabaka inspires you and her clients to explore, discover, and live your dreams by developing what she calls the $1 Million Mindset. Marla will inspire you to take action on your dreams and reveal secrets to success that will help you realize your own unique power. Tune into the $1 Million Mindset for heartwarming stories with Marla Tabaka. Learn tips and tricks to building a successful business and unlock the secrets to creating a happier, more balanced life through abundant thinking and attraction power. For more information on the $1 Million Mindset, go to our website, marlatabaka.com. That's MarlaTabaka.com. It's the $1 Million Mindset with Marla Tabaka. Monday afternoons at 2, 1 p.m. Central on TogiNet.com. This is the TogiNet Radio Network, broadcasting quality programming to the world.
This is Uncommon Sense for Leaders, a forum for exploring leadership from the intellect, the heart, and the spirit. Whether you're a leader now or aspire to be a leader in the future, you owe it to yourself to learn about the big ideas that have shaped the careers of compelling communicators, masters of influence, and highly effective leaders. Uncommon Sense for Leaders. Tune in to hear thought-provoking ideas on every aspect of leadership. You can expect dynamic discussions with special guests, quick tips you can apply immediately for better results, and the tools you need to take you from where you are to where you want to be as a leader. Are you ready to crack the code for achieving unprecedented results? Then join the host for Uncommon Sense for Leaders, Catherine Carlisi, every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the All Business Radio Network. Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I am so happy you could tune in. If you are listening live and you have a question during the rest of the show, you can call us at 877-864-4869. And don't forget to check out Peanut Butter and Wine, WHINE.com, and my website, mybestparentingadvice.com. I just added a new post on there. Try to do it at least weekly, if not twice a week. Anyway, let me tell you about my next guest. I'm so excited about this. I have Dr. Shimi Kang's book right in front of me. I hope that's how I say your name. And I have so many pages turned down. It's a wonderful book. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Dr. Kang is a Harvard-trained physician and one of the few experts in the neuroscience, psychology, and day-to-day reality of human motivation. She's won 5 national awards. With 15 years of experience, Dr. Kang's treatment, research, speaking, and media work reflect her diverse expertise in topics of healthy living, motivation, parenting, and mental health. She's presented at hundreds of events, and you know what? Dr. Kang skillfully combines her knowledge of motivation into her events for unique therapeutic presentation. You have to look at, you can see on her site. Anyway, I will tell you that information before the end of the show so you can write it down. But she's written this wonderful book called The Self-Motivated Kid, How to Raise Happy, Healthy Children Who Know What They Want and Go After It Without Being Told. And I have to say, Dr. Kang, I am so excited about this book because it hits on so many topics that are so important today. Helicopter parenting. You talk about jellyfish parenting. You talk about hovering. And, you know, it's tough because, as you know, as well as I do, it's usually 2-income families. And you know, the kids, they expect so much more from them at school, and they don't have any downtime. And so I was so excited to get your book and happy you're on the show. So let's start at the beginning. How did you get into this?
Well, thanks so much for having me on the show. It's such a pleasure. Well, I'm a mom of 3, and I have 3 children, and I've been a psychiatrist. I'm the medical director of an entire city, so I oversee 7 mental health clinics across the city, and over 15 years, I work with thousands of people, thousands of families from all walks of life, different socioeconomic, different cultures. And what I found was that what was happening in my practice, and there was this real trend of over-scheduling, over-pushing, over-hovering, and I was seeing it in my practice, and I kind of felt that it was just a certain group of parents, perhaps. But then when I became a parent, I found myself doing exactly the same things. And I said to myself, wait a minute, if I am an expert on motivation and I've done all this research and I know how to motivate kids, like this is my work, how am I getting caught up in these behaviors that we know are not motivating, and in fact they backfire and they lead to all kinds of problems for children and families? So it was really a journey, personal journey for myself. I felt like I needed to reconcile what I knew as a scientist and a clinician, what I was doing as a parent, and also what I valued as a human being, because I grew up never in a single scheduled activity. I was the youngest of 5 kids. My parents didn't have the time or money or resources to hover over me or put me in anything. And I think a lot of people perhaps grew up without the structure that we're seeing now. So all of that came together, and I wanted to write a scientific book. I wanted it to be based on fact, not an opinion, not one case anecdote of like a tiger mom and how her kids got into a certain school, but really, really boiling down and distilling the science. So the book is heavily referenced. There's over 300 references. I read 900 articles and 50 books in coming up with The Self-Motivated Kid.
Wow. Well, I have to say, when you were talking about you oversee the whole city.
Yeah, so we have mental health programs throughout our city. So they're smaller programs, and in them are child therapists, play therapists, psychiatrists, counselors, family therapists, all kinds of people. And then, so I'm the medical director of them. And through that, I've had insight into all kinds of families, like I said, and all kinds of situations and working with the school. So the book has a lot of stories in it, and we know storytelling is a powerful way to remember things. So there's lots and lots of science, but then they're backed up by stories of everyday families, and I think a lot of readers will see themselves in those stories or somebody they know, and that's really the best way to send a message.
You know, I think that's great because, well, you're in Canada, aren't you?
Yes.
And, you know, I think it's great because you do get to see people from different walks of life. And I was especially impressed, and I don't know, it sort of hit home. When I had my kids, I was looking at some quotes, and one of them was, when a mom has her baby, she looked at the baby and said, "Why are you making me not be the parent I thought I would be?" And it's so true because we do get caught up. And your story about the piano lesson,
right?
Could you please relate that on the air? Because I think it's such a great story. And you know, you don't have to take your kids to piano lessons. It just really hit home for me because I deal with, you know, the new parents and the toddler parents, and I see how overscheduled they are. And I want to say, just leave them in their pajamas. So can you talk about the piano story?
Sure,
I love it.
So I open the book with a story of myself driving, and I'm driving in traffic, and I'm late again, and I'm stressed and anxious to get at the time, my 4-year-old, one of my sons, to his piano lesson. And, you know, it's one of those typical parenting moments, and so many parents are spending time in cars driving around. And I was changing lanes. I looked up, and I saw my son in the rearview mirror. And his eyes were just flat and empty, and it was almost like a flash of insight. He looked like my 16-year-old patients who were sitting in my office telling me how much they feel anxiety or depression, how much they don't like how their parents are pushing them, how much they are lacking this joy in life. They have trouble problem solving. They're programmed. They can't think out of the box. And it was literally a flash of insight, and I said, oh, my God, my son looks like my patient. And I could see that in his eyes. And I literally turned the car around, and it was a turning point in my life where I just said, this is enough. I don't want to be going to this practice. He doesn't want to be going to this practice. He said to me, Mom, I just want to play. And then I launch into the story of Lego. And I say that, so we went home to just play, and, you know, we went to play with Lego. And then Lego, actually, the changes in Lego really they're a microcosm of the changes in childhood. If you think back to the Lego of our time, of our childhood, it was simple blocks. They weren't as expensive. They were brain-boosting play. You could make whatever you wanted. You were never wrong. It was not rigid. It was a free-flowing, wonderful experience. And today's Lego, and that was childhood back then, and today's Lego is like today's childhood. It is structured and rigid, and it's full of rules and instructions. There's no imagination. Everyone knows what the final product is. I'm talking about the branded Lego.
Right. No, the picture on the box. You're buying a boat. You're buying a train.
Exactly. What we're doing to kids. We kind of have this image on the box of who they're going to become. They're going to become a piano player. They're going to become a football player. They're going to become, you know, a math whiz. And then we start following the instructions. And, you know, our children are not plastic, and we have to really look at the science of child development and the brain and to motivate them, you know, towards not just their highest potential, but, of course, but to be healthy and happy, because I'm seeing a lot of unhealthy and unhappy kids.
You know, it's interesting, too, because I'm in the preschool setting a lot, and I will always say, when you walk down the hall, if you see pictures with faces and the eyes, nose, and mouth are in the right place, you know the child didn't do it without some help. You know the teacher said that's not where it goes. And, you know, I'm so happy when I see upside down faces or whatever it is, because the creativity is just so important, and to allow your children to do it. But I wonder, and I don't want to get too much into this because we're going to have a break pretty soon, but is it because the parents are afraid? Are they afraid that their child is not going to be successful? You know, your book is a self-motivated child, which is so important, because if we were like children, we wouldn't be, I hate to say this, but we would be freer, and we wouldn't be hung up about lots of things, and we would just do and enjoy. Life has so much to offer. So,
absolutely, and that's why the first chapter of the book covers how did we get here? And I think that we have to first understand, how do we get to this place where we are over-scheduling, over-instructing, over-protecting, over-hovering, doing all of these things? What are the factors that led to this? I mean, parents have been around for all of human history. Why do we have so many parenting experts, and what's going on? And their factors are very interesting. They're ones that affect many families. Some you touched on already, the double-income, the working family, that there's just not enough time, so activities seem to be a good idea. They're learning something and they're busy. But there's a lot more to that. There's also a society that really values perfectionism. We have messages like sleep deprivation is a symbol of ambition. You know, if you're super high-strung, then you must be ambitious. If you're rested, if you take time, then you must be lazy. If you're really busy, you're important. So all of these messages are part of the problem. Technology, parents are scared about technology. Kids are on phones and iPads. So they're like, okay, what can we do to distract them off of that? People are worried about safety and abduction, but really the rates of that have not gone up. It's more part of the coverage for these things. So all of these factors have come together. Getting into university is harder and more expensive. So I went through all of these, and in my research, I interviewed a lot of parents and said, this is kind of how we got here. And all of this brought out the fear and stress in us. And when we're stressed, we actually don't think with our higher part of our brain. We don't make choices when we're stressed. We react in what we call freeze, fight, or flight mode.
You know what? I have to interrupt you because I'm stressed, because I'm getting a note here that we're going to have a commercial.
Great.
So we'll be right back.
Okay.
Baby love, my baby love, I need you. Oh, I need you.
We'll be right back with more help. For help, my baby came without instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Baby love, my baby love, I need you. Oh, I need you.
Are you ready to start rocking that woo-hoo that only you do? Because Lisa Stedman is on a mission. She will dare you, challenge you, enlighten you, provoke and empower you to bring out that inner woo-hoo. Lisa is an internationally acclaimed best-selling author. She is a breakup expert, a brand consultant, CEO of Woohoo Inc. and the Woohoo Radio Network. She will show you how to take your boo-hoo and turn it into woohoo. Get rebellious and get real. Get your dreams off the back burner. Get inspired and motivated to take action. Start rocking that woohoo that only you do in love, life, and business. She is going to be here for you every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Only here on the Woohoo Radio Network.
This is the TogiNet Radio Network. Radio with a cutting edge.
Secret Cuisines and Sacred Rituals is a quest, a place, and a feast. Join host Vilasi Venkatachalam every week to explore myths, mystique, old medicine, and brilliant modern solutions through a dazzling kaleidoscope of cuisines, cultures, and cures. This is the place where tribes gather. strangers and familiars, to be memory keepers and makers of our evolving, enduring, evergreen, spoken legacy of wisdom and ingenuity. In Veloci's words, when we do old things in new ways and new things in old ways, we paint with an inspired palette, weave our own healing traditions, and become our own guru. Veloci is a troubadour of secret cuisines and sacred rituals. She collects stories of wisdom, ingenuity, and grit. She believes wellness and transformation happen when you stand at the threshold of delight and discovery. She displays her hidden penchant for drama when she leads the safari at the supper club. Her favorite pastime is to extol the marvels of cuisines, cultures, and cures. To her audience in workplaces, seminars, and salons, her mantra is, be your own guru. She is a biochemist, botanist, and alchemist who likes to churn delightful, useful things from a brew of art and science, ancient and evolving, old medicine and new cures. Join Veloci every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, only here on the Woohoo Radio Network.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I am so excited to be talking to my guest, Dr. Shimi Kang. She has written a terrific book called The Self-Motivated Kid, and we are talking about how to have downtime with your little ones and your big ones. Do you have to schedule them every single second? So do you want to continue? Before the break, you were talking about stress.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to make sense of why parents are doing what we're doing, when the stress response, we call it freeze, fight, or flight. And so I tell parents, I'm like, well, think of freeze. That's anxiety. That's feeling overwhelmed. Fight is irritability, anger, and flight is kind of escape. And overscheduling is a bit of that. You're just kind of checking out and doing the motions as opposed to really being present. And that can explain a lot of what's happening. And the first section of The Self-Motivated Kid is titled, This Doesn't Feel Right, but Everyone Else is Doing It. And it speaks to how I knew in my gut, my intuition knew this doesn't make sense. This isn't how I grew up. This isn't what the science says. This isn't what like any of the experts believe, but everyone else is doing it, and you get caught up. So it's really a tough time for parents, and we don't need to be judgmental. We need to really support each other and get these messages out.
So what do you do as a parent? Your child goes to preschool, and there's so many activities. Even when they're preschool, there's dance, and there's soccer, and there's softball, and there, even for these little 3 and 4 year olds. What do you do when you're in your so-called group of parents, and a lot of them have their kids in everything? And how do you keep your power as a mom, as a woman, to say, great, and that's it? You don't have to apologize for not putting your little ones in something.
Right, and it really comes down to balance, and we know that, some activities are not a problem, but too many is definitely a problem. So what I tell young parents to do is listen to their intuition, not their fear. Their fear is going to tell them to, oh my God, my kids are going to miss out, they're going to fall behind, they need to do this, they need to do that. That's the fear, and that drives these behaviors. The intuition is going to tell them, oh, my God, little Sally's tired. Johnny looks really stressed, or the behavior is changing, and that intuition will say, settle down, let them have more sleep, give them some downtime, connect with them, just sit with them and do some coloring together, not with a tutor or a coach. Kick the ball around with them. So really to separate fear and intuition, because, the human parent has evolved over millions of years, and regardless of how we believe we came into this world, we do have that system in us, and it's a very powerful system, and we need to tap into that.
Do you think, what about, I always wonder when a parent puts their child in an activity and they say if they don't show up, you have to pay. Do you think that's a red flag if your 3-year-old is going to dance and one of the rules is you have to pay if they don't show?
You mean from the activity? The activity says you have to pay?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that one of the other factors here, of course, is marketing, right? Parents are a huge market, and just like anyone who looks at a stroller and how complicated and fancy they've gotten, we don't need all the things we're marketed to, and we are, you know, I think back to when in the book I talk about when I was pregnant with my first son, Baby Einstein was all the rage, those videos and books. And they're, you know, they're expensive, they're good, but they were kind of marketed to enhance the baby's brain, right? It's Baby Einstein. But 7 years later, when I was pregnant with my third, the science came out, and in fact, kids who were watching those videos were learning 7 words less. And so not only were they not saying what they were supposed to be doing, it was backfiring, and the kids were actually left behind. And I said, well, Einstein never used any videos, and he did just fine. So really to be aware that we are marketed, and although things seem like they're all about child development and stuff, that, you know, for many it's a business, and parents are, you know, if you are in fear, then you will use money and resources that you may not do, and we end up with a lot of things that we don't need.
Exactly. You know, and I think you shouldn't really push your little ones. If there's something they don't like, just because their two friends like to kick the ball and play soccer, and maybe your child likes to sit down and color more or do something else, it's okay. Not, you know, I don't think you should push the children into something because, you know, many times you hear, well, you may like it when you try it, and I'm the parent. And what's your thought on that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we know there's 3 key parts of motivation if we want a motivated child. And I call them passion, purpose, and balance. A child has to like something. We are not, the human brain isn't some lump of clay that we can just mold into, you know, a ballerina or a football player. We can encourage, we can introduce, we can see if there's some interest and talent there, but we can't impose. And in fact, the more we impose something on someone, it's a psychological law, the more pushback they will give. In some of my workshops, I ask people to break up in twos and say, I want you to convince the other person the sky is blue, the ocean is blue, and the other person says the ocean is green. After a minute of being pushed, a thought pushed on you, you more strongly believe in the opposite. It's just the way our brains work. So kids need a sense of passion, and the more fun. But having said that, you know, not all kids are passionate about math, but math is a requirement to get through grade 1 and grade 2. So then we need purpose. That's the second one. We need to understand why something is important. So if a kid doesn't like kicking the ball, but you want them to kick the ball, you need to explain what it's about. And you say, well, learning how to kick a ball is going to be helpful for you, you know, when you're older, if you're playing soccer, or it will help with your brain skills, or whatever the reason might be, or, you know, we're a soccer family, or whatever it might be. You need to connect it with some meaning. And then the third is balance. Nobody is motivated when they're sleep deprived. And right now, kids all over the United States and across the world are seriously sleep deprived. They're not getting enough sleep. And then parents come to me and say, my kid is lacking motivation. And I say, well, you're not motivated when you're tired. And so things like ADHD, depression, anxiety, a lot of this comes to me every day. And so much of the solution initially is to find out if they're sleeping enough and if they have enough downtime during their day.
So what do you say when you have a parent that says, my child just doesn't sleep? You know, I'll hear that from toddler parents all the time. I'll put him in his room and he'll come out and he won't sleep. And, you know, I've always said with my practice that if your toddler, let's say your toddler doesn't want a nap, but you know they need the downtime. In my house, we always had quiet time. They didn't have to sleep. They could read books on their bed. They couldn't, you know, obviously we didn't have technology and all of that, but we had a quiet time, and that's where the part was that I was the parent, and it's okay if you don't sleep, but you're going to sit down and rest. And many times my children would fall asleep.
Right, absolutely. So, I mean, when we look at babies, there is a spectrum, but babies are born, they like to sleep. So sleep is natural to us humans. It is something that we're naturally driven towards, and we actually need it for our very survival. So Mother Nature has built in a lot of sleep reinforcers. So the first thing, and of course there's some, but they're rare, children who have true sleep disorders. There are not that many. More of it is a lifestyle issue. I tell a lot of families, your child doesn't have a major mental health or sleep problem, but they certainly have a major lifestyle problem. And so exactly what you just mentioned is to build in the downtime and to be consistent with sleep. Now, if there's a toddler who's a poor sleeper, you can't try techniques just once and think that they're going to change. For a parent to say, look, I'm going to put the iPad away, and once this child gets the message that no matter how much they cry and scream and kick, they're not getting to watch TV or get on the iPad, and these are the 3 or 4 activities that they are allowed to do, and try to make them a good menu of choices for them. You'll see over time you can help condition that child towards those more healthy, positive, or quiet behaviors that we're talking about. So, of course, if your child won't sleep and you're really concerned, talk to a professional. But I think so much of it is a balanced lifestyle. Many kids who can't sleep are sleep deprived, so they have insomnia. And so what we ask them to do is really get them into a routine and build in downtime during the day. Because if the kid is so busy all day, their mind will race at night. They'll be thinking about everything. That's the time they're supposed to integrate all their emotions and feelings. And if they have been so busy, it all rushes in at night. So just taking some quiet time during the day allows for that, exactly what you just said.
And it's interesting, too, because if we think of ourselves as adults on some of those days that are so crazy and you haven't stopped from morning till night and finally you're home and you can just about walk because you're so exhausted and your head hits the pillow and your brain goes, and it won't stop. And it's the same thing for a little one. It's so important to get that sleep. But just what you're saying, routine and consistency, and especially the consistency, even though it's really tough sometimes when we come home from work and we throw the consistency out because it's easier to let our child maybe watch TV or, whatever they happen to want to do. The consistency is so important, and it will sometimes change the behavior sooner than later, but you can't just do it once or twice like with anything else. But we are going to have another break, and when we come back, we will continue to talk to Dr. Shimi Kang, so stay tuned.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Are you ready to start rocking that woo-hoo that only you do? Because Lisa Stedman is on a mission. She will dare you, challenge you, enlighten you, provoke and empower you to bring out that inner woo-hoo. Lisa is an internationally acclaimed best-selling author. She is a breakup expert, a brand consultant, CEO of Woohoo Inc. and the Woohoo Radio Network. She will show you how to take your boo-hoo and turn it into woo-hoo. Get rebellious and get real. Get your dreams off the back burner. Get inspired and motivated to take action. Start rocking that woohoo that only you do in love, life, and business. She is going to be here for you every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Only here on the Woohoo Radio Network.
Hey, my horoscope in the Coffee News says I'm going to make a big change in my life.
Wow, I love the ads in the Coffee News and trying to find Cuppy to win prizes.
Yeah, and the fun facts and trivia are killer, too.
Hey, maybe we should advertise our business in there. I hear it's very inexpensive and everybody I know reads it.
Awesome idea! Let's call 903-283-0203 or go to coffeenewstyler.com and get her done.
What's that number again?
It's 903-283-0203. coffeenewstyler.com.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. We are up to our last part of the show, and I am talking to Dr. Shimmy Kang, the author of The Self-Motivated Kid. Terrific book. She's just as wonderful talking about giving your children downtime, and it's okay to have free time. It's not a waste of time. So before we go any further, Dr. Kang, where can people find you, your book, if they live in Canada? Let's tell everybody now so they can write it down.
Sure. So the book is actually available across the United States and the world, anywhere books are sold. So Amazon.com, Barnes & Nobles, throughout bookstores and online. My website is www.drshimmykang.com. So it's all lowercase, DRSHIMIKANG.com. And if you Google the Dolphin Way or Dolphin Parenting, which we're going to talk about, you'll definitely find me. I have lots of free videos and resources and tips for parents about motivation and parenting.
Also, I will have all this information on my website, mybestparentingadvice.com, and the podcast will stay. You know, if you want to share the podcast, which is wonderful, it's on iTunes, Stitcher, toginet.com, mybestparenting.com. You can always pull up the podcast if you forget how to find her or you want to listen to the great information. So do you have a favorite parenting tip?
You know, it's funny because a lot of people who've read my book tell me that they say this isn't as much of a parenting book as it is a self-help book for parents. So my best parenting tip is to work on yourself as a parent, to make sure you're balanced out, make sure you're not sleep deprived, make sure you're not running on caffeine and diet drinks, to make sure that you have meaningful connection in your life, and that you have time for play. So really that's my best parenting advice, because when a parent is balanced, when a parent is in that place, they are far more likely, first of all, of course, to role model healthy living and motivation, but also to know how to intervene, when to intervene. Their gut will kick in, and they'll be far more, parenting will become just easier for them. So take care of yourself.
Great parenting tip, and you'll have fun. And you have to have
absolutely.
fun. Your kids grow up so fast. So let's talk about the ocean, jellyfish, dolphin parenting. I just love it. It's so easy to remember. And about pod.
Right. So classically, there's 3 interpersonal styles, and this isn't just for parents, but it could be, for a boss or a friend. But we can understand them through the tiger, dolphin, and jellyfish metaphor. So these are just kind of easy ways to remember. But on one end of the spectrum would be this tiger parent. We've heard this term before, but that would be a pushy, overbearing, micromanaging. Even the helicopter parent is a tiger, right? Because they're on the kid. And that's, research is very clear on this, that is very stifling. Kids end up lacking independent problem solving. They lack creativity, very important in this 21st century. They lack important social skills because they don't learn to kind of think for themselves. On the other end of that spectrum is the jellyfish parent. So think of the jellyfish, lacking structure, a backbone, rules, direction. And these parents are too permissive. So they don't have enough rules and expectations. Their kids have never heard the word no. We see lots of problems with impulse control, behavioral problems in these kids. We see higher rates of drug and alcohol, all kinds of stuff. So we want to not be on either end of that extreme. We want to be balanced in the middle. And the metaphor is the dolphin parent. So if you think of the body of the dolphin, it is firm yet flexible. So the message there is be firm. Have rules and expectations in your home. Say, you know what, video game time is 1 hour a day, or, I expect you to eat fruits and vegetables every time you sit down for a meal. There are expectations and rules, but there's also a value of autonomy, choice, independence. Don't hover over your kids. Let them put on their own shoes. So it's really a balanced perspective, and it uses the community. So when you think of a dolphin, the dolphin's a very social animal. It's a very intelligent animal, but it's also a very happy animal. And I say there's 3 ways to be a dolphin parent, 3 things that are missing right now in kids' lives and parents' lives that is highly motivating, and they can be remembered through this word POD, P-O-D, and it's simply play. Allow your kid free, unstructured play. Remember that old school Lego? Play that doesn't end with anything. Play with a stick. Play with dirt. Imaginary games are amazing. Encourage that. Others, connection. So don't run around in your car all day having dinner at fast food restaurants. Sit down, have dinner as a family, connect with your child. These are very, very powerful parenting activities. In fact, the family dinner is one of the most powerful science-based activity a parent can do. And this is ironic because all these parents who are putting their kids in activities to get them ahead are missing out on the family dinner, which has been shown to improve grades, improve social skills, reduce drug and alcohol use. So the others is really important. And then the D is downtime. And we already talked about that. Sleep, rest, time to just unwind.
I just love all this. And, I think about the family dinner, and so many times I'll hear parents say, well, I can't do that. I don't have any time. You don't have to have a family dinner every single night. You can make a special family night. Years ago, parents always had family night. They had movie night, or they had game night, or they had a special morning where they did breakfast. And the kids knew from the very beginning they were at the same table. Nowadays, I don't know what I saw was a commercial, and you see the family sitting down at dinner, and they all have cell phones, and they're all looking down.
Right, exactly. And that's if they're even in the same room at the same time. Many families, I say the home has become a pit stop between activities, and it's not even a home anymore. And that's why in the Self-Motivated Kid, I opened up with driving in a car, because we're always going somewhere. And so just to simplify, and the message isn't to stop doing everything. Don't be a jellyfish. Of course, you want to encourage your child and push them. The message really of the Self-Motivated Kid is to balance out, dial it back a little bit, get back to some of these basic things that we know scientifically are highly effective for kids and parents. I say it's simple but not easy. So parenting is simple but not easy. It's just like health, like drinking water is simple. We all know how to drink water. But it's not easy because 80% of Americans are chronically dehydrated. And sleep is simple, but we're all sleep deprived too. So, and knowing is not doing. So we have to move and help ourselves move into action, because it really is a crisis point. These problems are now not benign, and we're seeing really high rates of anxiety in kids, depression in kids, addictions, video games addictions, all of it. So it's so great that you're shedding light on this topic.
And it breaks my heart, because so many times, not so many, but I've seen enough number of times where a 4-year-old will look sad, and you'll say, what's wrong? And they'll actually say, I'm depressed. And I've had this discussion with a couple 4-year-olds going, what does that mean? How can a 4-year-old be depressed? And how do they know that word? And you know what? Just let's go outside. So many times you look at the cars now. They just had an advertisement for a car with a computer in it. And I thought, what happened to I Spy with my little eye? Or how many trucks do you see out the window? Or, starting at the very beginning when your children can understand and they're still in their car seat or their booster seat. And you talk about what's outside, and you talk about, you play a game in the car. For me, this is my personal thing. It drives me nuts with the videos in the car. Because I think it's such a great time to be able to talk to your children. Also, as they get older, I'm sure you see this. Sometimes at the dinner table, you ask your older child, "What'd you do today?" And the word is nothing. Did you go to school? Yeah. What'd you do? Nothing. And I can remember doing that when I was a kid too. So
and I think parents we do have choices. You're right. Video games technology is everywhere, but we have the choice if we're going to buy that car with the computer. I have a minivan, and I have a video screen in the minivans because they're in all of them. But I have a choice on how often I'm going to pull that screen down. And certainly I do when I'm in if we're on a long road trip and it's just buried and everybody needs a few minutes, sure, I'll bring that video screen down and watch a movie that the kids might find interesting or educational or what have you. But we can make those choices. And if we're firm, if we're that dolphin parent, we're not the jellyfish, our kids will know that no means no. And when we're collaborative with them, they know that it's the relationship that really matters. I ask parents to put less focus on activities and more focus on the relationship.
Perfect. What a great way to end the show. It's all about balance. Thank you so much for being my guest today. I'd love to have you come back again. My guest today was Dr. Shimi Kang. She wrote The Self-Motivated Kid, and it's great. You have to just read it, get the book, and look at her website. I'll put it on my website. Thank you again. You have a wonderful day. Enjoy your weather. It's going to be 113 in Arizona, so enjoy. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, what a fun show. So much information.
There's so much.
Next week, my guest. No, we're still on air, so thank you. I didn't think you knew. Thank you. Anyway, next week, my guest is going to be Robin Boyd, the host of Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck. It's going to be a fun show. We're going to have lots of girl talk. We're going to talk about preschools, getting your little ones ready, choosing them, the red flags, that terrible G word, guilt. So mark it on your calendars. And also, please like me on Facebook. I have 2 pages, Baby Instructions, My Best Parenting Advice. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Pinterest. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Google+. And also, if you're on Twitter, I started doing Periscope, which is a short video where I give baby and toddler tips, parenting tips. So go on Twitter, look up Periscope, and if you're a Twitter person, start following me on Periscope because I am sharing some tips. And yes, I'm using my grandson. He's the research and development department to show you how to do some baby stuff, and also talking about toddler tips, especially with school getting underway soon. Unless you're in Arizona, we're in school already, and as I said, it's very hot. So also, if you want to be a guest on the show, go to my website, mybestparentingadvice.com, and there is a contact form on there. So I'd like to leave you today with a little humor. You never know how dirty a song's lyrics are until you hear your child singing them. Oh, boy, isn't that the truth when they're in the back seat singing to the song and the radio immediately goes off because you didn't know what it was saying. And finally, if a telemarketer calls you, give the phone to your 3-year-old and tell her it's Santa. Isn't that the best way to get back? So thanks so much for tuning in. You have a great rest of your week. And don't forget to watch your children around the pool. And I will see you next time. So bye-bye.